HQ presented by Navy Federal Credit Union. Thursday night football tonight. Rams and 49ers. Rams just a game out of first place. They've been hot.
A lot of people taking them to win the division.
Yeah, I mean, really,
even though the Seahawks are right ahead.
The Seahawks are a game ahead, but
they have a horrible schedule.
Rams have a head-to-head win against them as well, and the Seahawks have to go to L.A. to finish the season. So the Rams control their own fate right now. If they win out, they will be the champions in the NFC West. This is a last gasp effort for the 49ers to try to stay in the division race tonight. Let's break it down with Douzable and Bryant McFadden. Lige, we kind of laid it out there. I feel like talking to you earlier in the week, you're kind of leading toward this Rams team as the team to beat in this division because of the win against Seattle earlier, because the way the schedule comes out, and because of the way the Rams have been playing lately.
Yeah, without a doubt. This is one team, B-Mac and Has, that everybody on the NFC side is praying doesn't get into the playoffs, because they're probably one of, if not the hottest team in football right now. More specifically on the offensive side, I think people tend to forget earlier this year, the offensive line was banged up. 4 of the 5 starters weren't in the lineup. They're back and healthy, and they looked really good last week versus the Buffalo Bills. And then when you add the fact that Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, and also Kyron Williams, when they're in the lineup with Matt Stafford, he's 11-5 over the last 2 years. This is an explosive offense that has the best play caller in all of football in Sean McVay. I mean, B-Mac, they spread you out horizontally, vertically. They make you have great eye discipline. And then they also have a physical run game as well. Now, their defense is very young, right? And you have to live with that if you're Sean McVay, developing some of those younger guys to play well. And those guys will be good down the stretch. But this offense, man, it is so tough to contend with. I actually still have Seattle winning this division because of this game tonight, and we'll talk about this later in this segment. But San Fran has, for some reason, always had the Rams number. This is a massive game tonight for both teams.
In the month of December, either you're thriving or surviving, right? And the Rams, they're thriving. To your point, Sean McVay, you said he was the best play caller in the NFC. I think he's the best head coach in the NFC. When you look at his overall resume, especially what he did a year ago, being able to get that team that we watched in 2023 somehow into the playoffs, and they lost basically by a possession to the Detroit Lions. And then once again, you talked about all the injuries they had to endure on the offensive side, offensive linemen, both wide receivers missing time, missing some guys on the defensive side. And all they did was weather the storm. And now because they're healthy, they're playing better football. They're playing with a lot of confidence. And to your point, Matthew Stafford still has the juice to get the job done. So this is a team that has championship experience. Don't forget about that. They still have championship experience, not to mention how prepared they've been. And defensively, they just need to make the routine plays happen routinely. Get the necessary stops to be able to give your offense extra possessions. This is a team, to your point, Leger, you have to monitor, because if they get an opportunity to get into the tournament, man, look out. They could make some noise.
And then on the other side, you have the 49ers who are hanging on by a thread, and Sportsline giving them less than a 5% chance, Lige, to make the playoffs, because it's a really tough schedule. I mean, sure, you've got all the injuries and all that, but you've got Rams tonight, then at Dolphins, Lions, at Cardinals to finish the season. But Lige, if they win this game, are they still in it?
Oh, 100% they're still in it. San Francisco has proven time and time again that they have the pedigree to win out down the stretch. They've done it multiple times. This is a team that routinely starts slow. And I was one that came out and said 2 weeks ago that they were done. But it seems like they're getting healthy at the right time. Has, you alluded to it, right? Their schedule is a gauntlet. Starting tonight versus the L.A. Rams, and divisional foe. Then they have the Miami Dolphins, who are fighting for their playoff lives. The Detroit Lions, who are trying to solidify themselves as the #1 seed in the NFC. And then the Cardinals on the outside looking in, too. So you're talking about playing 4 straight games of playoff caliber teams. But you see it right there. They've owned the L.A. Rams. And there's a caveat to that when you look at that 9 wins, 3 losses, right? One of those losses happened in the NFC Championship game in 2021. And then last year, let's not forget, in Week 18, they rested all those starters because they already solidified themselves as the #1 seed in the NFC. So they have dominated the Rams the last 5 years, and then even more so at Levi Stadium. So when you look at this 49ers team, they're getting healthy at the right time, right? Juwan Jennings has missed some games. He's back. George Kittle's is a week removed from the injury that he had. He looked like he was all the way back last week. Brock Purdy had the shoulder injury, right? He looked like he had no effects last week versus Chicago Bears. They were able to run the ball with Isaac Guerrero. It doesn't seem like it matters which back is in the backfield because Kyle Shanahan knows how to scheme it up. And even on the defensive side, when you don't have a guy like Nick Bosa, Gross Matos steps up and gets 3 sacks last week, and Leonard Floyd adds 1 as well. So they've had a lot of guys step up. Now, it's a gauntlet of a schedule down the stretch, but if they were to win this one tonight, there's no other team that I trust more because of the pedigree that they have that they could potentially go on a run.
Yeah, to your point, Leger, this still is a talented team. Even with some of the injuries, they're still battling. But for me, when it comes to the San Francisco 49ers, starting last week, every game from here on out is like a Game 7. You win, you keep moving on. You lose, you go home. So they have to have that mentality. And I love what I saw from the San Francisco 49ers last week, the sense of urgency for this ball club. They came out firing on all cylinders because they knew they had no room for error. Can they sustain that level, especially in tonight's matchup? Because this is a meaningful game for either side in terms of playoffs hopes, because both teams are chasing the Seattle Seahawks. But so to your point, Leger, I'm right there with you. If the San Francisco 49ers can find their groove, right, and keep this thing rolling because of their talent and because they will be healthier towards the end of the season, this could be a dangerous team as well.
You'd think that number, that 4% percentage would rise with a win tonight. It does, but not by a lot. Sportsline only giving them a 6% chance to make the postseason even after a win tonight. And they're still dealing with major injuries going into this game. Trent Williams has already been ruled out. But Nick Bosa could return for the first time in close to a month. He's listed as questionable. We know about the running back issues with Guerrero questionable, but it seems like whoever they put in at running back is going to go off and be just fine and be a real fantasy factor. More on that in just a minute. But let's get to X factors in this game. And B-Mac, I'll let you start us off. Who is your X factor for Niners-Rams tonight?
Well, for me, it's the Los Angeles Rams starting wide receiver Puka Nacua. When he is healthy, he is wide receiver 1 for this team. And the reason why he's the X factor for me, because when he is going, their offense is very, very hard to stop or slow down. When you look at what we saw last week, 14 targets, 12 receptions for 162 yards, 2 major touchdowns. And the thing I love about Puka Nacua, he is the momentum guy for their offense. He gets the momentum going in terms of how he plays the game, his ability to be productive, not just in catching the football, but they love utilizing him in the running game as well with some of the speed reverses. They get to him, the way he blocks, and just the physical mentality that he plays. He's almost like the Amon-Ra St. Brown for their offense in terms of doing a lot. A very, very versatile player. So when he is going, their offense is better. Matthew Stafford is better. So if they can get Puka Nacua going, especially early in this ball game, I look for Matthew Stafford to have a heck of a day, similar to what we saw last week against the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I like that one, B-Mac. I'm going to go Brock Purdy, the quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. And me and Pete Prisco were having a very candid conversation yesterday on air. And when you look at it, right, everybody expects Brock Purdy to be the next big high-paid quarterback, right, $50+ million. A lot of people say he's a game manager. I think he's not a game manager. I think he's really elevated his game over the last few years. And when you look at it, he leads the NFL in yards per attempt, right? And people say he's a game manager. Listen to this next stat, Hass and B-Mac. When you look at the yards after catch, right, because that's what everybody says he does. He checks it down, and then, they have the Yak brothers on San Francisco. He is 3rd fewest in yards after catch when you look at all his passing yards, right, at 40%. 40% of his passing yards come with Yak, compared to last year where it was 48%, which was, I think, tied for 16th in the NFL. So it's not like he's just dinking and dunking and guys are running after the catch. He's throwing the ball down the field and throwing level throws, right? He's going to have a big game because we talked about how explosive this Rams offense is and how much points they put up versus the Bills last week. He's going to have to keep pace with Matthew Stafford. Brock Purdy needs to have a game today and solidify himself as one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
Short week. Some coaches do better on short weeks. Kyle Shanahan is one of them. They've won and covered 4 straight Thursday games, Leger. Niners are favored by 3 points at home tonight. Who do you like?
And that's why I like them, right? When you look at Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan over the last 4 Thursday night games, 4-0 against the spread, 4-0 straight up. And then we talked about it earlier, right? You saw it 9-3 since 2020 versus the Los Angeles Rams. The 49ers have owned the Rams, more specifically at Levi Stadium. Give me the 49ers -2.5.
Well, I'm on the opposite side. I'm taking the Los Angeles Rams. You talked about how dominant the 49ers have been against the Rams. No question, I can't deny that. But one thing I can argue in terms of Sean McVay and what he does in the month of December, he puts forth his best coaching effort in the month of December. 8 years coaching there on the sideline for the Rams. His overall December record is 23-11. Like I said, in December football, either you're thriving or you're surviving. Sean McVay has shown the ability to thrive. I believe he will thrive tonight.
B-Mac, Lige, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Looking forward to kicking off the week in the NFL with Rams and Niners, and we are your place for the NFL all the time. We've got my favorite show is the Pick Show that we do with Pete Prisco and Kyle Long. And I came across a great comment on the CBS Sports YouTube page.
I love this because I have a good quote coming up.
Someone called Pete Prisco a Temu version of Bruce Willis.
Okay. Can we say that about Bruce Willis right now, given everything he's going through?
Well, yeah, we can, because we're talking about Bruce Willis, the actor, you know, the great, the action star.
I get it. You went down a rabbit hole here.